Hi everyone, welcome back to my garage. I am the Motorcycle Rescuer and this is Motorcycle Rescuer. Let's check the idle. This bike's bloody loud. I'm going to let it idle a minute, guys, so that the water circulates if there is a thermostat in here. I assume there's a thermostat somewhere. And of course now it's warm, the idle's too low. That's fine though, we can adjust the idle. We're using the by taking some tension off the wire here. So that bit's okay, guys. Let's see if we can get that idling actually. Put a bit more on it. Doing the opposite now. There you go. I am going to let it sit for a minute and just see how it goes. You may as well listen. It's quite a nice sound, kind of, ish. the coolant seems fairly stable and okay, that's alright. I'm going to put some concentrate in there now and let that mix in. And I think I'm going to button it up a little bit, this bike, because I don't know. I guess I'd quite like to see if I can run it briefly, see how it rides down the road. It's got coolant now. I'll put some more fuel in it. I'm going to top up the fuel. It starts on the button, so it may be good to give it a quick test ride. What I will do is pop the rear brake off now and get that cleaned up a bit, so we have some good purchase on that. So it's hard to see in here, guys, but the brake, this is one of them brakes that don't come off unless you take the wheel off. Now to take the wheel off, you've got to take this whole swing arm off, which at the moment isn't the end of the world, but the pads on there look brand new. They're so fat, look, you can see that there. So it has been done not long ago. So what I'm going to do is put it back on, strap down the rear brake, and wait, you know, get the pistons out, check that the fluid level's up. A rattly brake pad would be that the piston wasn't coming out, so I think we can pull that out. Also, I've doused it massively with brake cleaner as best as I can from this angle. So I am going to put that back on. I'm going to strap down the brake, and then I'm going to check the fluid level and try and get that sorted like that. But the front brake, of course, I will pop off and do that a bit better. Although saying that, the front brake is also okay at this stage. I think I'll throw on Amanda's new levers. Might as well, it doesn't take long. And I don't know about the grips. I don't really know much about grips, but if they just slide on, that's fine. I'll slide them on as well. I don't really want to do any beautifying stuff to the bike. I think I'll leave that for her to do. I think I'm just going to do the basic servicing. I noticed Amanda's got a brand new oil filter, so I will drop the oil. It would be nuts not to drop the oil, put on the new filter. It absolutely makes sense to do that, so I'll get that done as well. So far we're looking good. Let me put that back brake back on. I'm going to use a tiny bit of WD just on the threads in here, but make sure it doesn't get on the disc, and if it does, brake cleaner after it, okay? But in fact, no, I'll WD the bolt itself. That makes more sense, the bolts, because every bolt I touch on this bike are stiff and they round off and they're crap, and that's what happens. So every chance I get to loosen up any of these bolts, that's what I'm doing at this stage. So I think at this stage I'm going to throw on the new rear brake lever. That's the original, that's the new. These are what Amanda's gone for. They're fine, they're a direct replacement. Always use the banjo bolts that come with them, don't use the old ones. It's tempting, but they're wrong. Goes on like that, simple. Fill up the reservoir. Obviously when you crack this nut you're going to get air in the system. Fill up the reservoir once it's all back together, top it up, tap it a few times, watch the air bubbles come out, and then you would have bled it. Although if this nipple comes loose, I think I'm going to bleed the whole system. Put fresh fluid all the way through. So new red levers, dot for fluid. To get the fluid through, just tap the lever gently and look. Once the bubbles disappear and it starts spraying, then you've bled the system. Strapping it down overnight can help as well. It brings all the air back up to the top, which is here. But look, you just play with it. Pump it a couple of times, then really gently press it. You seem to get the most air out if you're gentle, look, including them tiny little bubbles. Then give it a couple of pumps. You'll know it's fully bled when, for one, all these bubbles are gone, and for two, look at that, you'll get some purchase on your brakes. But there's lots and lots of little, see them little bubbles? They all add up and make one big bubble, so you've got to get rid of all of them. So I'm going to sit here tapping away. You can, of course, bleed from the other end as well, but this works well for me. So I'm going to get that bled, get the lid back on, and then we've got our rear brake back. So we've got a nice solid rear brake there, guys. Perfect. I'll do the same with the front, swap them over, although I am going to pop the front off, give it a quick clean, and then do that at the top so that we're even. The red on the DNA, do I like it? I don't know. Look, isn't that weird? It's full of fluid, but it hasn't gone into the reservoir. But it's absolutely brimmed to the top. Interesting. Yeah, the red and black goes well, I think. It looks good. I like it. Let's get the other sides sorted and the brake. These pads are good as well, guys. Look, plenty life left for MOT. Just cleaned them up a bit. I'll chuck them back on, bolt them up, swap over the bar, and we're good to go there. That's good. Same process here, guys. Fill it up, tap away really gently, do a couple of big pulls. Gentle, gentle, gentle. You see it kind of, it squirts every now and again, and then some more bubbles come out. There you go, see that squirt, see how it's jumping? But the odd bubble is still in there, so play with it. There you go. Again, what you can do is strap this down overnight, come out the next day, the last couple of bubbles will come out. There you go, look, and it'll be rock solid. It's what professional racers do and trial bikers, they strap them down overnight. I might with this one. Oh, we're still getting bubbles actually. What I was gonna say was I might run the dot 4 all the way through. I'll strap it down and we'll get that bit sorted. And then there's a rear foot peg for the bike. I'm going to chuck that on and maybe take this for a very quick basic spin around the block. Maybe, potentially. So here we go, guys. There's the new brake lever and grips. I think they look quite cool. You've got to be careful with the right grip, guys, because the right grip is what controls the throttle. Now, looking at the other grip, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh God. I'm not sure it's right, basically, here. So normally what you would do is you'd slide it all the way up and you'd probably glue it on, but there's a risk that I cut this old one off, because you do have to cut it. And this one doesn't slip onto the actual turn. So there's always a risk with that. I prefer the super grips that are on it actually, but Amanda wants the bit of red, so that's fine. I'm going to chop off the old ones, put on the new ones. If it needs a little bit of glue, I'll put a dab of glue on it. But there is a risk that it doesn't work, and that's just something people have to bear in mind when changing grips. So there you go, guys. A little bit of liquid and water help that process out. It is grippy enough, but you can put a dab of glue on if you need. That's not spinning, it's fine. Right foot peg down here needs to go on. Where does that even go on? Ah, there you go. Okay, we'll throw that on, and then a quick test run, I think, up and down the road just outside. Let me get the fuel pump seated a bit better. Everything else is kind of good to go. It's got its coolant, it's got petrol, it's got the bits and pieces it needs. I just need to chuck the seat on loosely and just give it a very quick run up and down, literally just up and down outside, to see kind of how it sits. So guys, this might be ridiculous, but I've got my helmet cam on, I've got the GoPro on my head. I'm going to go for a little spin up and down outside, staying close to home so that I can push it back when it breaks down. Wish me luck. So guys, I was due a test ride, but what's happening is something keeps blowing this fuse. I've blown 4 or 5 now. So frustrating. I think I'll have to give all of the earths and everything a clean tomorrow. I've done a fair amount already, to be fair. Any ones I saw I cleaned, but I'm gonna have to do some. See, look, the earth on here, look, it's green and stuff. So I just need to give it all a bit of a clean up, get the earths going. And you saw it didn't want to fire up anyway again today, so I don't know. This afternoon, I mean, not today. It's been firing up all day long. So I don't know what's changed. Well, except that a fuse keeps blowing. So I'm gonna have to check that out. So the DNA is a bit of a standstill for now. I'm gonna pop these spark plugs, clean them out, put them back in. I think they were probably flooded from the oil last week. Let's check oil level. I remember where we left it. It was about halfway up the window, and it's still halfway up the window. I don't know if you can see that. That's great. That means we're not throwing out fuel into the oil now, which is perfect. That part's done, but of course that part's no good without the bike running well, without that weird backfire. So I'll pop these plugs out. I've just tilted the tank for now. I don't want to mess with taking it off. Tilt the tank a touch and then pop them out, clean them, back in, and see if we're sitting any better than we were earlier. Okay guys, I'm not really sure what to expect here, but both plugs were quite black. I mean, they would have been. They've had fuel and oil up there, so it may or may not be a bit better. I'm going to fire it up and we'll see. So that's choke on at the moment, but it was okay choke on earlier. It was when it warmed up and the choke came off that it became an issue. I do think the black spark plugs wouldn't have helped. They were obviously, well, they were wet, weren't they? Interesting. I think it does sound better. I'm going to have to let it run a bit, guys. I'm going to let it run for a good 3, 4, 5 minutes just to see what happens. I knew by that time, didn't I, this morning, that it wasn't running great. Choke is off now, so I'm just going to let it sit and watch it for a bit. I'm going to start packing up some tools. It could be good to go, or it could go back to that weird running. We'll have to wait and see. Again, don't worry about the smoke on the bottom of the exhaust. The exhaust needs a good clean. Everything else should be kind of okay. I would say that was a win. At this stage, I think that's a win. I'll keep an eye on the fuel level, but of course we know that it's not dripping anymore anyway. So what we'll do is tonight we'll see where it is in the window. It should be somewhere like halfway once it's all resettled, and then check it in the morning. But the tap is working perfectly, so it's not dripping fuel into the oil, which is great. There are kind of bits and pieces. I do need to clean them pipes. They can't smoke like that every time, otherwise someone's going to run a mile when they come to view it. The tank's terrible. It's really letting it down now, look, and it's just where little bits rubbed off and then it got worse and worse. What I want to do is get to Halfords and find the closest I can to this colour, touch it all up, cut it back a bit, compound it, and then see if I can get it kind of a bit nicer. I'll put some gloss petrol resistant lacquer on as well once I've done that. So I want to get it looking kind of as best as I can once it is up and running nicely, which it does appear to be. It does appear to be. I can see the oil in the window now, guys. Let me take you off the stand, that'll be easier. So look. Yeah, so by tomorrow we'd know big time by the change in colour of the oil and by it being, basically it goes right up above the window and you lose it. So yeah, so I'm going to leave this one to it for now. In fact, I'm going to get some liquid water and start washing the wax off the tank, because I do want to yeah, find a matching colour, patch it up a bit, cut it back a bit, and then try and get it the tank looking a bit nicer. I don't know, yeah, I feel good on this one. This morning I was a bit gutted. It's just too busy, this one, for me all the time. But saying that, I think it has finally come together. I think there's no denying it. That it's back together. It's got the OME quality valves in it, float valves, and it's now got the tap that is working. I tested that, and the spark plugs were a bit sooty where they'd been caked, and now it did appear to be good. So I'll give you guys a proper test run tomorrow on that with the helmet cam on, and that'll give us an idea of exactly what's going on. If I'm very lucky, I will have got the closest matching colour paint to that I can, and just patch up the tank a bit, maybe put that layer of if I can cut it back a bit and get it smooth, put some of the lacquer on it. But for now, that's kind of a positive. Now there were positives and negatives to the DNA. The carb seemed okay, and now it keeps blowing fuses. This is the problem with DNAs. This is why I stopped working with them, Jake stopped working with them, and mechanics generally don't like them. This bike started all day today and then just suddenly didn't feel like starting up, and that's a right pain. They're very, very temperamental. I think tomorrow I'll probably try and give it a carb clean, because even though that second-hand carb is working, I didn't actually clean it out. It could do with a clean out. And the main thing is find out why these fuses are blowing, what's going on there. And actually I want to spend some time with this and my Typhoon tomorrow as well. See if I can get it, I want to get this down to a hair dryer and warm it up. I wonder if my little generator will power a hairdryer. I think they're quite, I don't know, are they quite beefy on electric? I might go and borrow my mum's and we'll see if that works. Basically, all of these that are faded terribly, the ideal would be that heat them and take them off, and then I can polish all this to a nicer colour. Some of the ones that aren't too bad, like these, can stay. They might even cut back a bit. Again, look, this, get rid of that one, get rid of that red one there, get rid of any one that looks really bad. So all of these, and then give it a really good wash and cut with some compounds on the front. Otherwise I'm going to have a good running bike that just looks terrible. Okay guys, so wrapping up for today, er5 seems okay. Pulse needs some bits and pieces doing. Gilera's started all day except for when I wanted to test ride it, and Typhoon I didn't get a chance to look at today. So honestly, overall it's good. I was looking at the er5, and yeah, I'll get the machine polish on it, and then probably some petrol resistant lacquer, and that's it. but it's all looking good. I have rerouted the cable, guys, so that we've lost our revving up issue. It wasn't about rerouting the cable, it was about taking pressure off the cable. So that's all good. Hopefully we'll get a test ride out of this tomorrow. If we're lucky, we'll get a test ride out of this tomorrow. That would be so cool. I bought the left switch gear, which I didn't get to put on today. I think tomorrow's going to be this 50cc and the Typhoon day. I think the other two, the Gilera can wait a little bit. This kind of does need just a touching up. I need to try and get the colour and a bit more shine out of it, and then I think it'll be alright. It'll be close enough to go. I think for the price it's probably a 1250 bike in the condition it's in, and for that you're getting a really low mileage er5 that's just had all this work done to it. 227,000. All of the main things that go wrong: the suction, fuel tap, and the carb rebuild kit, carb balancing, everything else on it is new. Chain and sprockets brand new. All the body panels were painted really well. It's a shame that we messed up the tank. We spilt fuel on it, but I'll get it a little bit better. The wheels have been polished and painted. The tyres are practically new and decent tyres, and it's not overheating, so it's a good bike. It really is. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Drop a comment down below, no matter how silly it seems. It helps the YouTube algorithm just to say hi, or, you know, good work or anything like that. Any comment, anything at all, it just all helps my videos get out there and get seen, and that's why I do it. You know, I do it for the chats, and I get quite a buzz out of when things go right. This eventually went right today. That's great. That's been going right so far, so we're in a good mood. And if we're very lucky, tomorrow I'll get out my Harley and fire it up.